It is November the 29th, 7:50 p.m. here on the west coast of the United States. My name's Arthur. This is the Apologia Center live Q&A. I want to apologize to you guys for not coming to you Monday. That's because I have been bedridden, sick, following my church service on Sunday. So our new pastor came down with an illness. He wasn't able to preach on Sunday, so I filled in. I preached, got home, got sick, and I've been bedridden. Today's been the best out of all the days. Really, really bad yesterday. I mean, I practically slept the entire day. Shivers. What else? Yeah, shivers, body aches, headaches, really tired. And then immediately when you say that, people say, well, are you sure it's not the C word? And no, got tested for that. And it's not. It's just, you're sick. It's the flu, whatever it is. So, RSV, everyone is getting it. Why is everyone getting the RSV? That's the revised standard version, right? You guys reading that book and everybody's getting the revised standard version? Why? The ESV is supposed to be an update of the RSV, so I don't, as far as I know. So I don't, yeah. I'm pretty sure the ESV, oh, the virus you got. Oh, man, I love it. Yes. It's a win for me. It's a win for me because you're talking about sicknesses and I'm thinking Bible translations, bro. I'm happy with that. That's called biblical thinking right there. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with it. I'm like, why are you guys getting the RSV? You know, the ESV is That's a W, man. That is absolutely a W for me. Okay. RSV standing for what? Respiratory something something. It comes with a pink eye, by the way, with the kids. All the kids that I know, not all, most of the kids I know that have had it, they get pink eye. So yeah, our kids have been sick. They've been home with me. My wife got better. They all had it prior to post. It's very unique. I mean, it was kind of crazy because we had Thanksgiving dinner. We had a bunch of people at our house. Everybody was fine. Everybody leaves, and my wife goes, I feel really, really bad. Goes down sick. Kids go down sick. I mean, our church was practically empty because we had so many people that were sick and couldn't make it to church on Sunday. So, yeah. You guys enjoyed that, huh? You guys enjoyed my... I did. Respiratory syncytial. Is that a virus? Respiratory symptom virus? Symptom? Just making stuff up. RSV. Okay. Hey, when I put RSV in Google, it's the translations that come up. So Google's with me on this. Okay, thinking biblically. Is that what it's called? Okay. Oh, it's actually pronounced sensual. Sensual. That's a CY kind of weird American thing. Is a common respiratory virus that usually causes mild cold-like symptoms. It ain't mild, man. It was not mild, guys. Let me tell you, I had the C word. I had the C word last November. Actually, last Thanksgiving, my family and I had Thanksgiving just by ourselves, me, my wife, and kids, because we all had it. This was worse than that, for me at least. What did you preach on Sunday? I preached out of Luke chapter 14. Verses 7 to 11, and I titled the sermon, Humble Thyself. and this is when Jesus is essentially speaking about how people were taking the better seats at the table, and Jesus says, "Here's some wisdom on life, right? That you should take the lower seats so that you're not embarrassed or humbled when you take the better seats and somebody comes and says, hey, there's someone more important than you here." Yeah. So I spoke about service and humility, and service of all kinds, including our involvement in the church. So some of the guys that are in this chat were at church on Sunday. Let me know, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the sermon. All transparency, I didn't think that was the best of my sermons. I thought it could have been a lot better. And I don't know, maybe I wasn't feeling well. I just didn't know about it. But I was a bit harsh on myself. I think it could have been better. But you know, you kind of have these days. You preach a sermon and then you go, okay. Maybe it's because I hadn't preached for a number of weeks. I don't know. Maybe it's like I haven't preached for a month and I was a bit rusty. It could be all sorts of reasons. The guys in the chat can tell you how it went. What did you guys think? What did you guys think about the sermon on Sunday? You dudes who were there. Let Daryl know. Why do you recommend the ESV? I think it's a good compromise in between a literal translation and then a thought for thought translation. So I was a big fan of the NASB when I was in Bible college because we needed to use the NASB because we were doing studies out of the Bible. We wanted to be the most literal as possible. Then I started reading the New King James Version for a long time. And then I started off, when I became a Christian, I started off with the NIV. And so I'm used to that. And the NASB is a bit too... what's the word? Like the English doesn't flow, right? That's my main, like, especially when it comes to the poetry. The NASB doesn't flow when it comes to its English. It's not meant to, but that's okay. And towards the end of Bible college, I think is when the ESV came out. And so I started using the ESV. I got an ESV Bible. I like it. I think it's a great translation. But, I mean, for study purposes, I use multiple translations. Sometimes I even access the Armenian because I want to know kind of what's going on there. I also have a Christian Standard Bible, and I think that's a pretty good translation too, as well. It's called a wooden translation. Yeah, because it's like that. I know it's pretty strong, the strain going around. My friend had three C word 3 times. And okay. I'm telling you, this was bad. It was pretty good. I have a few questions that I don't want to burden you with. Oh, that's fine. You can throw it my way. You can throw that my way if you need to. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, I missed out on a really good opportunity yesterday. I could have been on a podcast. And I was so sick. I got a text in the morning from Ruslan asking me, hey, would you want to be on this podcast? He'd been invited to be on the podcast. Dude, why am I forgetting that? Podcast name. No Jumper, I think. Yeah, No Jumper podcast with Adam 22. And I was like, dude, I wish. And Ruslan went on and did a great job. No Jumper podcast. I mean, things got 4.4 million subscribers. I mean, that would have been cool. Yeah. So, I was so sick in bed. I mean, if I was remotely functional, I would say, and my head was cloudy and stuff like that, and I might do a reaction. I might record a reaction because I was watching and there was a certain thing. I think Ruslan did a great job, by the way. So props props to Ruslan holding it down. There was a number of things that dude Destiny brought up that I would have reacted to a bit differently. And that's just nothing against Ruslan. It's just like philosophical training on eternality. And that guy was talking about the universe being eternal and stuff. And there's reasons philosophically why we shouldn't believe the universe could possibly even be eternal. And so I would have brought up some of those things. So I might cut out a portion of that and say, well, hey, listen, here's how I would have reacted to some of these comments. So, yeah. Let me see how I feel tomorrow and go there and see if I can chop that up and then make a reaction video. I think that'd be cool. Again, I wish I was on there. That would have been a really cool conversation. But Ruslan did a really, really good job. So props, Ruslan. Props to you, my bud. I know would have been cool. But God is sovereign, dude. If God wanted me there and I needed to be there, then I would have been there. That's the way I look at it. Hey, look at that. I forgot. Hey, I've been sick. Forgive me. Okay? I've been sick. That's a pretty decent one. It's not you're not going to pay too much money for that. It's good. If you're okay with the size of the font and all that. Destiny was really bad in this debate. Ruslan came well prepared for that type of discussion. So I don't know much about that dude, Destiny. Frankly speaking, I don't know much about him. But seems like pretty well informed, but not informed enough is what I would say, right? Like, so like he spoke about the design argument, essentially, the watchmaker argument. I think he like called it some kind of a name, and I was like, you got to know the literature on this stuff, right? Like, you get what the argument technically is, and then he goes, oh, it's a crap argument. It's actually a really, really brilliant. People think it's one of the best arguments. Essentially, the reason why Antony Flew became a theist, I mean, Antony Flew being top-ranked atheist philosopher for a generation, said it was the design argument. So just to bypass something like that, right? Like the intricacies of the universe, the all the stuff that the fine-tuning sort of stuff when it comes to our planet, life on this planet, like all of that stuff combined together in a cumulative sense. Just to kind of brush it aside like it's just stupid is, in my opinion, intellectually dishonest. Definitely need to have you on my CCC series one day. Hey man, just shoot me a message, bro. You know how to find me. Yeah, we'll arrange it. No doubt. We'll make it happen. I'm drinking tea, trying to keep myself from coughing up a storm. By the way, lots of folks who have this RSV, Bible translation disease, the cough's not going away. Hey, by the way, there's like a leather-bound black version of that study Bible, but it's twice the price. It's $62. If you're really into appearances of that sort, like you're going to walk into church and open it up and we're all going to like get slain in the spirit next to you, then get that, right? Like, let me put it up. If you're like this is that. if you're like, yeah, I'm gonna pull up in church, look at that, open it up, right, 60 something bucks, but it's man, it's so nice. I'm assuming it's about the size of. It'll probably be around the size of this guy. Okay. Now this is not it. This is the Net Bible. This is different. But it really depends. I mean, it's your preference, man. I mean, some of these Bibles that are worth more, it's like anything you get. It's like, am I going to get the cheaper shoe or the more expensive shoe? Well, you're going to get a quality difference. This one I sent you, the link I sent you, the $28 one, that is a hard cover one. Oh, I didn't notice that it's a thing. It's actually $129. Whoa, man. Hang on. It's not $90. It's on sale. But you're going to get it. You're going to get it December 10th if you order it now. But it is, yeah, it's. It's actually what it's showing me on Amazon on my end. It says list price $129, save $67.62. It's 52% off. And the one I sent you is actually $40 and it's off. So it might be worth it. ESV Study Bible is good. Reformation Study Bible is great too. Haven't used a Reformation Study Bible. I'm not Reformed. That might be why. But is your church currently going through Luke? No, we're not currently going through Luke. I chose that text. Our new pastor has started a series. I think it's a 12-week series, 13-week series, that he's going through James. And so that's cool. Enjoying that. It's gigantic, 2,720 pages. Let me see how many pages this is, and then we'll make a good comparison. I'm okay with this, by the way. It's not that heavy. And plus, you walk in a room, people get slain. Joke, by the way. So it's a little bigger than this. So this one is 2,434, 36 pages, let's say 36, 37 pages, right? So it's a bit thicker than that. But this feels good. I'm trying to sell you. This feels good. Whatever link you posted, it is not going to allow it, I think. It can only allow me to put links up, but not you. It'll get rid of it real quick. That's the large print. Okay, get the one without the large print. Oh, yeah, it's large print right here. He did. Yeah, appreciate that. I was supposed to be there with him, but I was sick. So it would have been cool. Maybe. I mean, it's, I love those people. All, like, I'm trying to be as genuine, guys. Those are the people I love. Those folks that don't believe, those folks that are against and argue for being against. I have more of a passion for those people. I got to be very careful with what I say here. I'm going to say it anyways. I have more of a passion for those antagonistic kind of sort of people than I do for the religious kind, for the people who think they're believers, but they're really, really not. Who were raised within the church or whatever like that, like that have that sort of an arrogance, like we've been Christians, but they really aren't. They haven't given their lives. I prefer those people. Now, I prefer as well to train people in the church to know what it is that they believe. Really care about that. So, yeah. Everyone seems to be sick these days. I'm sick, Arthur's sick. Yeah, everyone is sick, by the way. Everyone I know. Okay, exaggeration. In the last 3 weeks, almost everyone I know has gotten sick. Are you close to being a YouTube partner yet? I actually have become that. So the way you will know that, by the way, is even in this chat, if you look on, there should be an option there about like super chats and stuff like that. So once that stuff starts appearing, that means that you're in the YouTube partner program, which ads-wise, I mean, again, this is not a big channel, but ads-wise, paying you pennies. You're going to wait a long time to get something mailed to you. Or whatever, direct deposit, however it works. But yeah, I mean, the cool thing is the super chats, the stickers, things of that sort. I'm coughing too much. Can you repeat that? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it took a while. I've had this channel for a while, but I mean the last year, probably second half of last year is when I started doing things a lot more on the channel, and the channel's grown, right? Like we've seen. Let me see. It'd be cool to do like an end of the year kind of thing. Analytics. Here we are. Analytics last 365 days, which is pretty cool, right? So, okay, I really started pouring in with video content. Man, I didn't have much, huh? Subscribers. Okay, so July, August. That doesn't make any sense. No, I was doing live stuff before that, so something's not clicked here. Regardless. So in the last year, subscriber-wise, let's just talk about that. The channel's grown 2,300 subscribers. We're at 3,300 subscribers, exactly on the dot right now. Right, so we had 1,000, and we're at that's 200% increase, which is phenomenal. And then views skyrocketed, obviously. Watch time skyrocketed. It's really cool. What is this? Watch time. Something is wrong. Yeah, so your channel has got 128,000 views in the last 365 days. Oh, we're actually at 3,330 subscribers. Literally restart my channel. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it starts consistency, man. How long does it take you to edit your shorts? Too long. Here's one thing you could do whenever you're editing your videos. So, if you're I'll give you exactly what I do. Excuse me. So, say I'm making a 5 to 8 minute video. In the 5 to 8 minute video, there might be a section that I can just pull out and make like a 30 to 45 second. 60 seconds, I realize, is too much on YouTube Shorts. I prefer 30 to 45 seconds, even though some of them I do 60. Let's just say 45 seconds. If I can pull out one chunk of it at 45 seconds, then I will. I might actually just, like, I edit it and export it, and I go around and then just remove a bunch of stuff and keep that, whatever, 45 seconds. Might combine different portions of it depending on how it works. And then what I do is I export it, and then I throw it onto my phone. Then there's a captions app I use where it generates the captions. Once it does that, then I just upload it to YouTube Shorts. So I'm trying to reduce the time to do that. It'll usually come out with shorter videos that I do. That's the way you do it. So that whole work for the short goes into whatever my editing and recording and all that stuff is for that 5 to 8 minute video. The app I use, this is a paid app, by the way, but it's a really good one. I like it. There's a free one you can use. It's called AutoCap. That's free. I used that for a while and then stopped. This other app, I quite like it. It's called Captions. Just Captions. It's purple with a little caption bubble. I really like this app. It does a good job. Promoting them, they're not paying me. It takes a while generally. It takes a while generally. You're at least consistent with videos. The next one could always be the one that changes it all. Yeah, that's the interesting thing, right? Like you just do whatever you're supposed to do and whatever you're doing, and next thing you know, you know all the work you've done, and then you make some silly 30-second video that goes nuts. Then you sit there and you go, really YouTube, really algorithm, really people, all that important content, and what got the attention is some random, not so important thing, right? Something you make for like a joke or something like that. It'll be hilarious. I should develop like some kind of a really, really dumb argument for God's existence that nobody takes seriously, professionally speaking. And then that's the thing that goes nuts, right? It's like argument for God's existence from pineapples. Have you seen a pineapple? Do you see the shape of the pineapple? We're going to do a live stream tomorrow night as well, by the way. Shorts are very interesting, man. Like just one of the things I've learned from Ruslan specifically is reusing material, right? So you do a live stream like this, and then some portion of it might be really, really good. Someone asks a question and you jump into it, or you explain a biblical text, and then you jump into it. You just like slice it out. You can put some B-roll on it and stuff like that, and then you pump it out, and it's great. So. That RSU was killer. Here's the argument. Well, you see here, the pineapple is shaped like a nebula in a faraway galaxy, so therefore there's uniformity in creation, so God exists. Yeah, it's what's that sequence? That like loopy sequence? What is that called? I keep thinking catenaccio, but that's like an Italian defense thing in soccer. Fibonacci sequence. Is that what it is? Yes, it is. The Fibonacci sequence. Pineapples and the Fibonacci sequence. Bam. Hit. 900,000 views overnight. These aren't horns, by the way, guys. Some of you guys might be tripping out. Oh, look. You know, like, there's some kind of a conspiracy guy out there going, hey, look at this guy. He's got hidden. He says he's a Christian apologist, but he's got a red light there and he's got horns. That's my pillow. And the pillow's got horns. No, it's just the design of the chair. But when I'm streaming, I don't like the pillow back here. Now I got horns. Bugs me. So, like Ray Comfort and the banana thing. Yes. Yes. That was bad, man. That was bad. Hey, Future, what's up? Armando says, what earbuds are you using? And Mike. So, Armando, you just asked something, and I'm going to answer it. I have my equipment link in the description box. But one thing I think I realized is that I didn't put my earphones in there. I will. That's actually, thank you. I thought I'd put everything. But the microphone I'm using is the MV7. The Shure MV7. These, I got to look it up. I don't know. So I have a friend who is a genius when it comes to all things audio. He runs a company, big giant company, does audio stuff for really major events. So I was looking at buying a really expensive headphones. And so I sent him a message. I said, hey, man, where can I get it? Can you get it for me cheaper and stuff? And then he sent me an Amazon link, said, buy these. They're amazing, and you're not going to pay a lot of money. So I think I paid about $90 for these, and they're really good. Internally, they got a lot of like stuff he explained to me that's beyond me. But I think these are like much cheaper now. And you can change these out. They plug in, plug out. So really good stuff. But I'll add that in there. I got to go into my order history from like 5 years ago and find it. They've updated them too. That's hilarious. Hilarious. Yeah. People, it's just hilarious. I've stopped trusting things on the internet. So I'll give you an example. Usually you get some kind of video like, hey, did you know the ancient Egyptians did this and that? Recently, I've just watched them, and I think these guys are just making stuff up. Like, did you know the captain on the Titanic was the... And then I'll like jump and Google it. Like, am I it sounds fake. There can't be so many of these did you know kind of stuff, right? Like these hidden, whatever. And some of them I've come to realize are fake. Like they're making them up. The worst is I've seen folks who are Christians doing this sort of stuff or claim to be Christians. Or like you find some kind of a disputed portion of the Bible that just really doesn't have a consensus around it. And there's some obscure view of it, right? And then you go, did you know the Bible teaches? And it's like, man, you're just doing that for views now. You're doing it for likes and clicks. And I think that is just really, really bad. It's intellectually dishonest. And I think you're using and abusing the word of God there. Personally, I don't like those earbuds. You know what the cool thing is? That you're not the one wearing them. But yeah, so here's pros and cons. Really, really good audio-wise. Excellent. They fit well. I like the little stringy sort of thing because it doesn't get tangled up like that, and it's very flexible, very nice. What I don't like about them, that they're big. Right. So compared to my, let's do a comparison. Okay. Let's take that one off. That's the left one. Compared to these guys. Right. Right. Almost non-existent. I like that. Problem. I would use these, by the way, because they're great. The problem with it, there goes the disconnection. The problem with it is that I can't connect my AirPods to my mixer. Well, you can, but it's a very annoying process. Once they come up with an update where I can connect these guys to my mixer and be able to do monitoring with that, no need for this. Wireless, I want to say wireless always wins, but that's not true because audio always drops in quality. Will you allow me to ask you a very difficult question? It's very difficult to answer, and the answer is difficult to accept. I have an answer from my position, but I want to see it from your view. Ooh, yeah, go for it. Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't want to use the mic on these. Right? I would just use these for monitoring purposes. So I feel like I have to talk loud. Your mic's picking that up, and then if I'm just monitoring with those, and then interviews, it helps, right? Because obviously when I'm doing interviews, I'm hearing the person I'm interviewing in my ears through my earphones, and so that there's no feedback, right? They're not on big speakers. It's not feeding back into my mic, and then it gets really annoying. I would prefer those just for comfort, even movement-wise, right? I mean, I got nice slack here with these, but just wireless is cool. For my purposes, it would work. Yeah, I want to know what this difficult question is that is difficult to answer. I'm going to write this down. This is kind of cool. I'm looking at my YouTube analytics for the last 28 days, and even when I'm not putting up videos, average on a daily basis, I think we're getting about 400 views, which is really cool. Subscribers wise, it's a up and down kind of thing. I wonder what the average is. Armando coming at us, who wrote Hebrews. Very interesting point here, Armando. I think Apollos wrote Hebrews. But I had a guest on, Carl Moser, who said that he thought, who was it? Did he say Titus? Man, I forgot what he said. But he said someone else wrote that. I think he said Titus. But I was like, whoa, I haven't heard that. And whoever he said, I said, I haven't heard that. And then so we decided I'm going to have him back on, and we're going to have a conversation on Hebrews, on the book of Hebrews. And then we'll talk about authorship, and then we'll talk about theme and all that stuff. So, yeah. I have no Suavecito, what's up? What's up, Suavecito? Suavecito, is this the gel brand? It's not gel. It's I think pomade. Looks like it. I use that for my son's hair, my kid's hair, and sometimes for the shape of my beard. If I had a nice mustache that I could roll around, then I would use it. It's nice to. There I am advertising there for Suavecito. Still waiting for that very difficult question, by the way. Yes, but not the guy. I don't know what you mean. Like you're not the one who owns the company? Look at that. Future's breaking it down. I just found out yesterday that John was super close to Jesus and was always leaning up against him, giving him possibly more info than the other apostles reading the book of John. So, yeah, John. Okay, so here's the interesting thing, right? Um, yes, you don't. I got it. Here's the thing about pristine auto detailing. The interesting thing here is that John, it seems to be, people kind of guesstimate on this, but it seems to be the case that John might be the youngest of the group of disciples. So John might be, I don't know, 17, 19 years old. So there's a different kind of relationship there with Jesus than the other guys. And he's very close to Jesus, right? He's a part of the kind of inner circle, even in the James, John, and Peter. And so Jesus would teach the public stuff, and then he would teach his disciples stuff. But it seems to be the case that he also had this inner group of three guys who he would hang out even more. But according to the Gospel of John, at the very least, John refers to himself as the one whom Jesus loved, right? And that could just be the case that he was looking out for this guy. He's the youngest one in the group. He's the little guy in the group, right? And so there's a very unique kind of relationship there. I think that's very interesting. I'm happy you're reading John, by the way. It's phenomenal text. If Adam was created good, this is interesting. Okay, if Adam was created good, regarding good nature, inclined to do good, and he doesn't have a fallen evil nature, why would he be more inclined to eat the fruit rather than to refuse it? Well, I don't think he's more inclined to eat it. Nowhere in the text does it suggest that he's more inclined to eat it. Okay? Let me see. I want to so I want to backtrack here. I don't think when the Bible says, and it was good, it means that in a moral sense. Ooh. I'm about to drop some bombs. Okay. Hang on with me, guys. Hang on. I'm opening up the text. Okay, we're gonna look through the text here. I like this. My man has asked a real good question here, and let me bring up the Bible passage, and then we'll. You guys ready for this? You guys ready for some nice Bible study? Okay. In the beginning In the beginning, God created the heavens. Whoa, we don't want to do that. Let's lock that. Okay. Okay, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay. The earth was formless and void, or without form and void. And darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. There we have it. Okay, so because we're good Bible students, we're going to do this thing to it, okay? So the light was, what happened? How come I didn't get my highlight? Good, okay. Good. I'm using Logos Bible software, by the way. Logos 10 is out. You guys can get that. Advertising to for Logos today. But let's keep on reading. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And it was evening, and there was morning the first day. And God said, let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let there separate the waters from the waters. And God made the expanse, separated waters from under the expanse from the waters. I am doing my reading. There was above the expanses. And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven, and there was evening, and there was morning a second day. Okay. God said, let the waters and the heavens be gathered into one place. And they did so, moving on, and the waters were gathered into one place. And God saw that it was, there it is again, good. God said, vegetation and all that good stuff, right? It was so, kind, bearing, kind. God saw that it was good. And there was evening, there was morning. A very good idea here is when it comes to biblical interpretation, when you see a word repeated, let's say you're doing your hermeneutical study or exegesis, and you see a word that keeps getting repeated, you want to underline that word. You want to go back and circle it and highlight it and be like, this is important for the passage because it keeps getting repeated, and I'm curious here as to why this thing's getting repeated, okay? So good is this one of these words in Genesis 1. So God said some more stuff, signs for the heavens, 6 days and years, let them, all that good stuff. It was so. God made the two great lights. Moving on, God saw that it was good. Fourth day. Living creatures after their own kind, and it was good. God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, everything do well. God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their livestock. So they did. God made the earth according to everything. I don't think I've missed anything, and it was good. There we are again. Then God said, let us make men in our likeness and our image, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, all this good stuff. He created them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, dominion over the air. That's all good stuff. God said, behold, I've given you all this good stuff, and every beast of the heaven, every bird of the heavens, and everything that creeps beneath, and it was given. So, and God saw everything he had made, and behold, it was interesting here. There's an addition to the good. So it's good, 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 good. After humanity, sixth day, it's very good. Right? So it's all good, 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 very good. But this has to do, verse 31 has to do with God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. So everything's made, and it was very good. Now, it's going to get bad real quick, right? So what does this tell us? Well, there's a couple of things. Because this word good is used in multiple ways after multiple stuff, then it probably doesn't have a moral connotation to it, okay? So we might want to do a Bible study here on Bible word study, right? And so we want to look up this word. So good. Let's see. Okay, because we don't want to do word study fallacies, right? So you get this passage and, oops, wrong thing. Okay, good, merry, pleasant, desirable. You get it, right? You see this? Better, good, goodly, goodness. There's all these other uses of it. So you want to be a bit careful when it comes to this word. So good, merry, pleasant, desirable, in order, in its proper order, usable, efficient, friendly, kind, or morally good. Morally good is not the connotation here, is what I'm saying, because a lot of these things that God is making are not morally, they're not moral categories, right? Like the earth, it seems to be that it's good in the sense that it's according to the way he wanted it to be. It's good. It's good work, for example. If that's the case, then I don't think, not saying Adam is not good in nature. I'm just digging a bit deeper here into the text. I think Adam was, if we mean here that he was created without sin, obviously we're going to agree there. So if Adam was created good nature, inclined to do good. Now, I think that is an additional point that you're reading into the text, right? That he was inclined to do good. Not that it's false, but the text just doesn't say it. Neither, I mean, obviously he doesn't have a sin nature, so he's not inclined to do evil, right? But he doesn't have a fallen evil nature, correct? Why would he be more inclined to eat the fruit? So I don't think he's more inclined to eat the fruit. I guess that's the point I'm trying to get at. I don't think the issue here is his inclination. The issue is that he does it. Let's just say he could have been inclined to eat the fruit, 10%. But he does it nonetheless. I mean, I think there's a bunch of stuff that we can make references to that are like neutral categories that we're not really inclined to doing, but we do anyways. So let's just say that you might not be very hungry. All right, whatever, you're like 10% inclined to eat, 90% not inclined to eat, and then they put the food in front of you, and you end up eating it anyways. You weren't very inclined to do it, but you did it anyways. So I don't think there's an inclination issue. I don't think the text really cares about the inclination issue. I think what the text really cares about is that Adam did it. Maybe that's why it's so bad as well, is that he wasn't really inclined to do it and he did it anyways. But yeah, again, I'm picking at your why would he be more inclined to eat the fruit? I don't think he's more inclined to eat the fruit. I think he does it. It's not a more or less issue because I don't think it's necessarily determined. I don't think it's necessarily not determined might not be the right word. Just because you're inclined to do something more doesn't necessarily mean you will do that. Or just because you are necessarily inclined less on something doesn't mean you're not going to do that, is what I'm trying to say. And this is where that whole free will conversation comes up. Now, you and I stand on different positions when it comes to free will, but you and I would stand on the same exact side when it comes to free will in the garden prior to sin. So there's no debate here, is that Adam freely chose his inclination. Let's just say he wasn't in the midst of that, like he had to do whatever, his inclinations were leading him to do. Like, the heart of the man is deceitful above all things. Who can know it except the Lord your God? Kind of those sorts of passages, right? So do we conclude that Adam was neutral? No, I don't think he's neutral in his nature. We don't want to say he's neutral in his nature. He's good in his nature. He's sinless because he hasn't sinned. And he doesn't have a sinful nature because he's created good. What we do conclude is that he chose to eat the fruit and rebel against God. And that's not because he's inclined this way or that way. That's where I want you to be very careful, is don't assume that people will do that which they're more inclined to do. I believe that men freely choose to do evil. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to get into the hairiness of the free will conversation. It doesn't matter in conversations about this text. Just because you're inclined to do something doesn't mean you will do that. I'm just speaking here in a very practical sense. Okay, example. Say I'm sitting down and I'm watching a Netflix show. And I've watched, say, 5 episodes already. And I'm like, oh man, I watched 5 episodes. Come on now. And it's like 1 a.m. And I know I got to get up at 6. And I'm like, oh man, I really need to get up at 6. It's rational that I go to sleep right now. I've watched 5, kind of overdoing it here. And I want to do that. So like I desire to get up, go, and say my desires are in place. And I go, you know what? 1 more. And I wasn't really inclined towards that, but I did it. Or even the opposite of that could be true, right? Like where I'm like, I really want to watch the next episode. And I go, nope, it's 10 p.m. I got to go to bed. But I'm really inclined to watch the show. And I just get up and do it. This is partly why we struggle with the concept of desire, by the way, guys. Here's what this is pastorally, right? Like these are things I've discovered, I guess, in my pastoral relationship with people, and some people might not agree with some of my conclusions, but that's okay. I personally think usually when people don't agree with my conclusions on this issue, they're misunderstanding me. But here's what I've decided. So someone comes into my office and would say, I'm not a pastor anymore, but people would come sit in my office and say, hey, pastor, man, I'm really struggling with this sin. I go, okay, tell me what it is. And they'll list it out. I go, cool. And they genuinely will sit there and say, I don't want to do this. I desire not to do it, but I keep falling into it. It's very easy for me to say, and plenty of people do say this, no, it's because you don't desire it. That's why you keep doing it. Right? And I don't say that because I genuinely think they desire it. They desire not to do whatever it is that they're doing. As a matter of fact, if you map out their entire day, let's just say, if you map out their entire day, 99% of the day say they're not doing whatever that is that they're doing. Okay. Let's just say like they're eating too much. Every meal they have, they overeat. They have 3 meals a day. Every single one of them, they overeat. And every time they start the meal, they're like, okay, I'm not going to overeat. I don't desire it. And they find themselves to do that. And so I don't think this is a desire issue. So here's one thing I've discovered is that this is a habit issue, not a desire issue. And this goes along with spiritual formation, and a bunch of the stuff I get is from Dallas Willard. But it's because they've trained their bodies and trained themselves and trained everything about them to do that thing all the time. And so therefore, every time they're confronted with that, even though they desire it not, they do the opposite of it, or the opposite of that. They don't desire it, and then they do it because they've habitually trained them in doing that. Some of you guys, when you're driving down the road, if somebody cuts you off, your immediate reaction is rage. Why do you think that is? Well, that's partly because you've trained yourself for many, many years to react in rage against people who, mess with you when you're driving. So how do you combat this? Well, spiritual disciplines. This is where spiritual disciplines come in. Spiritual disciplines like silence and solitude. Spiritual disciplines like blessing others, like intentionally blessing people on the road, right? I don't know if you guys have done this. You should. You see people, pray for them, bless them as you're driving. Don't listen to the nonsense radio stuff. Just be practical and bring things of this sort into your life. The spiritual discipline of fasting will help you with controlling your habit of overeating. If you think you got an opinion on every matter and you're very talkative, every single conversation you talk too much, the spiritual discipline of silence and solitude will help you not to do that. So it's reforming and changing your habits. This is why the Bible speaks about the transformation of the mind, right? So you got to think differently, and then your habits change, and then you know that's why we offer up all the members of our body as living sacrifices to the Lord. So it's a habit sort of thing. I know I've digressed from the original comment, but I don't think Adam was neutral in that sense. And I don't think his desires, let's just say, or inclinations dictated how the outcome was supposed to be. I think he had genuine free will, and in that moment, he chose to do that. And what the Bible says about this very clearly is that it looked good, it tasted good, and it made one wise. Those were the reasons. It looked good. So Adam makes his decision, as well as Eve, because it looks good. It tastes good. Right? The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, according to 1 John. I can go on for days. Let me preface this. I can go on days talking about the spiritual formation stuff and how desires work with habits. That does not mean I manage my habits perfectly. Talking about something and then actually putting it in practice. Excuse me. Breaking habits and developing new habits in their places could be very difficult, sometimes costly. Okay, it doesn't necessarily take a long time to break a habit and form a new habit, but things need to go along. Excuse me. With each other very well for you to do whatever it is that you do. And so sometimes some of you guys probably have habits you've built that are amazing habits. Some of you guys have built habits of working out that's like phenomenal, right? Like people envy to replicate you, but you can't sit down and read for 10 minutes. And then some of you guys can sit down and read for 2 hours and pray for another hour. And then people look at it and go, well, that's a habit you've built in your life. Some of you guys have built a habit of going to bed on time properly. So like all of us, I would say, have built habits. Some of these were built because of our families. Our parents did a really good job in developing good habits for us. I'll give you an example in my personal life. My mom did a really, really good job in training me to be a giving individual, giving of my time, just giving resources, whatever. And she instilled this in me in various ways. And I'm not very sure whether she was being intentional in that. I don't think she was like, oh, I'm going to develop this kind of a habit. For her, it's just, this is the sort of child I want. This is good. And so it's helped me in that. And she did a really good job at that. And so that's not something I really have to work at. Like in a given situation, if I see a need, I'll meet it. And that comes from that. So my mom, who was an unbeliever at the time, did a really good job at this. But there could be a lot of bad habits that my parents have instilled in me, and there are, that is still a challenge for me to overcome. But I know it comes from my general family unit. They're habits that have been built, and they're ingrained into my character. For example, one of them is when I get into a conversation and confrontation, I raise my voice. And I've become better at that, but I haven't perfected it. But again, that comes from my family kind of dynamic. So yeah, it's phenomenal. This stuff is really, really good, guys. Once we figure it out, we realize how much spiritual disciplines matter. We realize that overcoming sin is not a matter of desiring to overcome sin, or even creating in people the desire to overcome sin. it actually becomes extremely practical in developing habits that help you overcome sin. But we focus so much on the desires. I say the desires don't matter. Do the habitual stuff, the desires will follow. Desires are very, very frail and like wobbly. If you create a habit consistent enough, the desire will arise in you to do that thing. Best example of this, working out. Right? Like you get up, you're like, okay, I'm gonna really get healthy. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna work out, maintain my health and whatever like that. Or healthy eating, sleeping on time, whatever. And I'll give you a practical example of this in a couple of seconds. With my kid. You get up that first morning and you're like, oh man, I don't want to get out of bed. It's cold. You go, nope, going. So you get up, you go through the grind, you force yourself, you're at the gym, you're working out. Second day, same thing. You're like, oh, I'm sore. I really don't want to do it. Get up, right? Maybe you got a friend that's helping you in this. This is why accountability partners and stuff are a good thing. Your friend's waiting downstairs. He's like, hey, get your butt down here. We're going to the gym. You get up, go to the gym, work out. Third day, 2 weeks down the line, 3 weeks down the line, you get up, you go to the gym. 3 months into it, you wake up with joy in your heart to go to the gym. It's like, oh, how'd that happen? Oh, habits, desires. My son has, who is generally someone who sleeps in. Like if he didn't have school, he'd sleep till like 9:30, 10. My oldest son. He also goes to sleep later. He sits up and reads books, which is great, but overdoes it. Like sometimes it's like 11:30 and I'm like, put your book away and go to bed. He loves reading. He takes out his flashlight and just like reads. And it's difficult to control that because he's in his room. We might be in bed sleeping and he's reading. And because of the World Cup, he started first Sunday of the World Cup, I woke up at 5 a.m. and I was like, hey, World Cup game, you want to watch? Came, watched the game. Second day, woke him up. He's been, they were off school for Thanksgiving and he's been sick. Second day, woke him up. But now he's waking me up. He comes 5 a.m. He's like, Dad, game is on. And if I'm like, dude, it's 5 a.m. and I don't really want to watch that game, it's not that important to me, he's got it on the TV, he goes, turns it on, starts watching it. Just like it became a habit for him to wake up at 5 a.m. The World Cup is helping him develop a habit of waking up early. I don't know whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing in the long run. I don't know how it's going to last. We'll see. But it's a very simple example of like 2 weeks into this. Let me go back and read some of the comments, guys. I've talked enough, I think. Can I ask okay, this is a different question. Can I ask how you would respond to those who say that Peter and Paul preached a different... Do you mean here that Peter from Paul preached a different gospel? Clarify this for me. The answer is very simple, by the way. I'll give you a very, very simple answer. But just clarify if you mean that Peter is preaching a different gospel than the one from Paul. What would have happened if he didn't eat it? We would be born in a world without sin, or never born at all, or men are good and women. Yeah, the men and women comment is just not true. It doesn't matter. We would, would we exist in the state that we exist? It doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, seems to be logically different. The possibility. So yeah, it would be a different sort of world. Would we exist in that world? I'm not very sure, actually. I can give a bunch of philosophical reasons as to why we wouldn't be, even if we existed, it wouldn't be like rational to say that's us. Do you think Adam and Eve were tempted for a longer period of time than others suggest? It doesn't make sense that they would abandon God's ways just like that without fully considering it. It seems to be the case that they fully considered it. I'm just not very sure about the time frame of this. It seems to be the case that they fully considered it. Looked good. When they ate it, tasted good. And it made them wise. Thank you for your answer. I really appreciate your answers. Very thought-provoking. Thank you, man. Why are you not a pastor anymore? Because I want to slide into the realm of apologetics. I've wanted to for a very long time. I was pastoring at my church out of, I would say, necessity. COVID, I mean, I stepped down from pastoring and went to Armenia and did apologetics training there and started an apologetics ministry in Armenia. That's still continuing. And so when I got back, we got back, COVID season and all that stuff was going on. And the church hadn't replaced me in the way that we had intended on replacing me. And I said, you know what? Because of kind of the roughness and the rockiness of the situation, I said, I'll step in. And then as I function in this role, we'll be looking for a pastor to come on full time and take this and run it. And I'll just be an elder. And that took about 2 years, which I'm very happy that we have a full-time pastor. So I think my gifting is in teaching. I think my passion and desire is in evangelism and apologetics. And so I prefer to do that. This is very good. Thank you. What is your favorite spiritual disciplines book resource? I'm reading Celebration of Discipline. That's a good book. That's the Foster book, right? No. But which one was that? Celebration. Yeah, that is the Foster book. Yep. So that's one of this book is one of the first books I read on spiritual disciplines. I read this in Bible college. I would recommend. I think it's called Spiritual Disciplines by Dallas. Anything by Dallas Willard. So, the Spirit of the Disciplines by Dallas Willard. Yeah, sure, you can read that. I like The Renovation of the Heart by Dallas Willard. I like The Divine Conspiracy because it's not just understanding spiritual disciplines. I think understanding what that means kind of in the totality of our Christian life and the way we view the kingdom of God, being present here, and how that changes our outlook on how we have power to govern our own habits. And that we can overcome sin for various reasons because we are no longer mastered by sin. All of it kind of flows together. And so I like The Renovation of the Heart before any one of these other books because it helps with that. So, finish that book and then go back and read Renovation of the Heart by Dallas Willard. Whoa, thanks, man. Here we go. Thanks for the super chat, brother. Appreciate it. Have a good night as well. I gotta go. Bad habits, staying up late. Look at that. Yes, I prefer that to happen than anything else, right? It's like you just have nobody watching because everybody's going to bed. I'll head off soon as well. By the way, today is Giving Tuesday, and I want to encourage the 4 of you guys that are here and those who might be watching the replay of this. You guys can give at patreon.com/Apologia Center and become a monthly patron of the work and the ministry that we do. If you want to give one-time gifts, just email me at info@apologiacenter.com and I'll direct you on how to do that. As a matter of fact, as it's in the comment, it's in the description box. I forgot. It's in the description box. Or you can just contact me. Oh man. I can sense my what did I do? I can sense my throat just really, really bothering me. It's all on there. Yes. There it is. Okay. That's the way that's supposed to look. Like something was off. That Patreon. Ooh, look at that. Multiple layers of stuff, by the way, to get that to happen. Takes like 15 minutes of work. So thanks a lot again. Proceed now to auto detailing. I'm about to head out as soon as well, Arthur. Are there any books that I can buy that can support your ministry? I should have a let me see. I have a wish list on Amazon. Actually, yes. I'll tell you why I want this book. So, I've mentioned this before, this book. Excuse me. I appreciate it, PT, by the way. So here's the link. That's Christian Apologetics. That's the second edition. I have the first edition of this book. And if I get the second edition, then the first edition will go to someone. It warrants a purchase because of the additions there are to this book. I've spoken to the author, and that's what he's told me. So if you want to do that, I'd appreciate it. Yeah. But I want to, asking that question makes me remember. I don't know how this wish list stuff works. Hang on. Books I want. Oh, man. I'm such a nerd. I've never done this. I've never actually shared. Add to books I want. Viewer list. I'm going to do something here for you guys. Oh, a bunch of more people came in. Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? I should do this again. If you guys want to support us on Patreon, it'd be awesome. Patreon.com/Apologia Center. But we're talking about wish lists here. I haven't looked at this wish list for quite some time. I might actually have some of these things. So I wouldn't. I don't want to put it up there just. I don't have that. Here. You guys pick. I don't want to throw. The reason why is because I don't want to throw a book out there for a certain price. And this has kind of all over the map. What's the most expensive book in this? Christian Philosophical Theology. That's actually almost $50. There's Theistic Evolution, that's $50, and then there's $17 ones. Appreciate it. I should put that in my. I'll add that in the description box just in case anybody else is. That's cool. I like that. Some people are interested in supporting in those ways, so it's kind of cool. And I assume when people buy that, it just gets out of your wish list, huh? Whatever, we'll see. Basically, I'll tell you what I did with this wish list. It was hilarious. When I was in seminary, like you're in class and then your professors are like, "Hey, this book, it's a really good book," and you're like, "Oh man, but I'm buying all these other books, and I'm reading all these other books, and I'm not very sure whether I could afford this book." So what I started doing was creating a wish list on Amazon, just so I can keep track of these books that all my professors were recommending. I mean, some of them will bring books into class and give it out, and then I would just scan the barcode and then just go, okay, into the wish list. And it's just been there because I've obviously ended up buying some of those books and then not others, and some other books after that. And you try to balance yourself out when it comes to buying books. But it's specifically, I mean, to keep up with what's it called? The literature out there, the academic literature out there. As you can tell, it's like technical stuff. Some of those books, if you guys go check it out, you'll notice. And then some of you guys might actually like that and be like, "Hey, cool, I want to buy that." Now, some of that stuff is included. Some of it's not. Most of it's not included in my recommended book, obviously, because I haven't read them. But yeah, man, that was a long commentary on a very simple question. Thanks, PT. Appreciate it. Okay, 9:13. We will be back. I don't want to push my voice too much. We will be back tomorrow night. I'm really hoping that I will feel a lot better than I am today. I'm medicating myself and all that. Hey, Ricky, what's up? Good to see you as well. By the way, also, I'm not very sure if a lot of you guys have Instagram accounts. I do these Q&As on Instagram. Really, like what I'll do is I'll post, does anybody have any questions? And then people will ask the questions and I'll get them. And then I'll just make short, like 30 to 60 second videos answering their questions. You can follow me on Instagram, Apologia Center. Eat grapes for the lungs. Okay. Thanks. I'm pretty sure I have some. Well, we got 10 people in here. So, y'all, if you guys want to hang out, then I'll hang out. PT, thank you. God bless. Be well. If you guys want to keep hanging out, talking, it's an hour and 25 minutes in. We can do that some more. If not, then we can just call it a night. Head out, go to sleep, and see you guys tomorrow. Your call, your choice. Hey, David, how you doing, man? Thank you, David. I appreciate that, and I do my best. Not perfect, but we tried. We tried the best. Hey, man, appreciate it, Armando. Thank you, man. God bless you. I was gonna say this Wednesday. Oh, tomorrow. Man, I got my dates all mixed up. Tomorrow, huh? There's the Patreon. What is it? It's one of the tiers. I gotta hang out. Appreciate it. So officially, we have 21 patrons. Officially, we're trying to hit 25 by the end of the year. I think we can do it. So Armando's helping in that. Appreciate that, Armando. Good night. Okay, we're still going, guys. We got 9 folks in here. It was this was this was not planned, by the way. I didn't plan on doing a stream tonight. The reason why I did it is because I was like, I didn't do one Monday because there's just no way I could have done one on Monday. That's how bad I was yesterday. And I was like, you know what? I'm feeling up to it. So So Rob, I checked the video that the 3 Muslims, the only video that they've done on me with my picture on it, right? Let me actually put it up. Because you made some comments the other day and I couldn't find it. I was like, okay, if maybe you are talking about the same thing. But you like disappeared in the chat and I didn't know what you were talking about. Okay? So, let's go to this. The only video that the 3 Muslims have done that is about me is this video. Is this the video that you're talking about? Just tell me yes. Unless they've done other videos. I mean, I'm in this one too, but they separated this one out and then come at me. Is there anything else, I guess, here that they've talked about me? So is this the video you're talking about? If this is the video you're talking about, then I've done a response to this video. My latest upload of a shorter video is a response to these guys over here. These guys in specifically this video. No, you can ask, man. I'll manage. I can manage. Trust me. I can manage as to what folks can do, and if I'm not gonna just pick your questions, if there's a lot more questions coming in and all that. So you can ask. Feel free. If I realize the question's too much and it's gonna take too long or something like that, then I will just say, it'll take too much. I'm not gonna answer it. So Rob, again, I'm asking you a question, but I don't see a response from you. I just realized something. In this picture, you guys realize how magnificent my beard is? That's a sick beard, as opposed to. I think Andrew Tate, if you wanted to, I think Andrew Tate could grow a pretty decent beard if you really wanted to. It was about you and Tate. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah. Arthur, there is a channel which challenges all pastors. His name is Corey. You heard of him? Ricky says shave the beard. No, man. Why would I shave the beard? So I can look like a woman? No thanks. Shave the beard and you'll see your friends. No, I don't know who Corey is. What's his YouTube channel? He challenges all pastors for what? It's always very interesting to me. AJ Wilson, what's up? Hey Arthur, what would be the number one argument for Christianity you would use to the average atheist? Okay. This is one of those questions where it's multi-layered, and I don't agree with some stuff in there. Okay, so let me explain myself, AJ. Before I can bring an atheist, so you got to think tactically about this. If I'm talking to an atheist, I'm not assuming 9 out of 10 times I want to say that atheist is not going to go from atheism to Christianity. That's not the way beliefs work. Especially the change of beliefs, especially if that person is a legitimate atheist. Okay. Like I don't think you can have like a couple of conversations and then like, bam, this guy's like, yeah, I want to give my life to Jesus. Because when you change your beliefs, there's a shift and a change of paradigm and worldview and things. Like, it takes time. So, when I have conversations with atheists, my goal isn't necessarily, in that conversation, isn't to get them to Christianity. My goal eventually is to get them to Christianity if I continue my relationship with that person. But if it's a conversation I'm going to have, like, in passing, like I just met them on an airplane or on a bus, or I just met them. If it's a coworker, that's a bit different. If it's someone that I develop a relationship with, that's very different, okay? So what I want to do is I want to get the atheist to a theist before I get them to Christianity, because then the shift in paradigm and worldview becomes closely related to one another. And I would say what you would need to do with an atheist is probably give a couple of arguments. And I don't believe in like giving one argument. I don't think any one argument by themselves solves the issue. All arguments are going to have some issues. Okay. Or all arguments could be in a sense where it might be good for someone, but someone else might not really buy it. For me, what I would like to do is to bring an atheist to theism. There's three arguments I like to give together that I quite like, and they're not uncommon. So if you've watched Bill Craig, you've seen these arguments. He's spoken about it quite a bit. What I would do is give the cosmological argument, which is an argument from the beginning of the universe, that if God, if the universe began to exist, therefore God exists. Simply put, the second argument I do that I like a lot is the moral argument. I enjoy the moral argument quite a bit because I know that regardless of what people say, they have moral standards and they live by them. And so if absolute morality exists, then God exists. So I use those. So I present a cumulative case. So the cosmological argument and the moral argument. A third one, I think, is a design argument. I think the design argument makes quite a bit of sense. If something seems to be designed, it is most probably designed, right? You can get more detailed than that and break it down. So I like giving those. And you can, in an hour-long conversation, you can give all three of those arguments. Now, if the person goes from there, is convinced by those arguments and becomes a theist, then I would just give an argument from the resurrection. Because if the resurrection happened, then Christianity is true and everything else is false. So I just stick to the resurrection and give an argument for the resurrection. Now, what you can do, right, is work backwards, I guess. You can sit there with an atheist and say, here's an argument for the resurrection. Defeat this argument. If you can't defeat this argument, then Christianity is true. Then God exists and all that stuff. So you can do that, which would be an argument from the resurrection. So yeah, there you go, AJ. What about Aaron Ra? What about him? Like, what do I think about Aaron Ra? I think he's a very interesting character. Would I debate him or have a conversation with him? I'm not very sure. Maybe, maybe not, depending on the conversation and the occasion and all that. And what it's going to accomplish. I'm not one that just desires to debate people for the sake of debating people. Debates, partly I'll tell you why. Because debates take a long time to prepare for. And the questions I got to ask essentially is, okay, I'm going to invest, let's just say, a bunch of time in study and a bunch of time in this and this and this and that. Is it worth doing that for whatever the outcome is going to be in conversation with whatever person? And if that means taking away from my family and my kids and my church and my friends, like that, I got to just, wow. I got to somehow justify that. And if I can't, then I'm not going to do it. Why do you think it is that a majority of Christians, visible and invisible, don't study or have an interest in theology? I would say this is a fault of churches. I think this is a fault of, it seems to be the case. Well, I got to be careful here. Grapes. Thank you. So I'm coughing actually not because of my throat. I can literally feel the scratches in my throat. So it's not coming from. So I think we have generally lost a category of individual that existed previously, which is the theologian pastor. And we've become more convinced and developing more individuals that are going into pastoral ministry that are what I would call practitioners, right? And again, this is not nothing against this, but we have practitioner pastors, but they're not theologian pastors, and generalizing here. And because of that, I think these practitioner pastors maybe haven't done a good job, even if it's not their gifting, in regards to being like theologically minded, is to encourage folks in their churches, like the elders in their churches who are theologically minded, to develop a church that is theologically rigorous. And that's partly why I think that we have an issue with people, because coming from the pulpit down, and again, this is my experience in the United States, very small kind of experience within my community. This is partly why we don't have individuals in the church that are interested in theology. If we had a pastor that was interested in theology, we would have congregants who are interested in theology. I'm convinced of that. If we had elders in the church that were interested in theology, we would have individuals in the church who are interested in theology. And look, one of the things I would say is at our church, excuse me for the coughing, by the way, we have individuals that are very interested in theology, very interested in hermeneutics, and therefore we have a congregation that's interested in hermeneutics and theology and apologetics. It's like, how did that happen? Well, we got a bunch of people in the leadership who are interested in that stuff, and we always talk about that stuff, and we bring it up in our conversations, in our Bible studies, so people become interested in it. And we most likely will attract people who are interested in that sort of stuff. That's it. Pastor Kent Hovind have wiped the floor every time he debated him. Okay. I'm not a big fan of Kent Hovind, so I've never even seen Kent Hovind debate Aaron Ra. Sure. Eric Hernandez, the guy I had on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, has debated Aaron Ra, and I think he did a good job. Faith is too strong to study, so we don't know as much, but we still love God. Faith is too strong to study. No, I think you can study it if you're rigorous enough. Look, doing theology should result in you worshiping God. The end goal of doing theology is worship. It ought to be. It's not so you can have a big head. It's not so you can know a bunch of information. It's not so that you can debate and beat the other guy next to you. The end goal, listen to me, you can quote me on this, and I'm not sure whether I said this or it's like in my mind that someone else said in a book, most likely that I'm just repeating. I just don't know the source of it. The end goal of theology is worship. Never forget that when you do theology. Once people start separating doing theology from worship, you're going to have all sorts of issues. You're going to have a lot of people who are very proud, a lot of people with big heads, and a lot of people who are making these false dichotomies over like, no, we should focus on personal dedication to Jesus rather than doing theology, which is generally what I've seen. In my life, it's been doing theology leads me to worship. The more I know God, the better I know God, the more I worship him, the more I want to worship him. Right? Amen. Amen to this. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. Amen. Collectively, entirely, the whole thing. And yeah, like one of the things I've seen quite a bit is people, actually pastors, saying like, oh, don't go too deep into that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're a pastor. You're telling me not to go deeply into theology. And this is a number of years ago. I mean, but I know what they were saying is that they had known guys who had just done theology for the sake of doing theology and then had become very fat-headed and proud and arrogant and didn't want to submit to leadership and just ruin stuff. It's like, no. If you do this right, it's going to be good. Right? And look, knowledge puffs up. That's the reality of it. All knowledge, even knowledge about God. If you don't bring it in submission to Christ, it's going to puff up. It's going to make you feel like you're God's gift to earth and save earth, and you're going to have a Messiah complex. And relax, shut your mouth, humble yourself, learn, grow, worship God, right? Like that's advice to all of us. I include myself in that. So yeah. Okay, guys. We've been on for an hour and 47 minutes. This is bothering me. I don't want to destroy it because we got a live stream tomorrow night, got an interview on Thursday, and then got another live stream on Friday, and then I have a long weekend because we have our church retreat Friday to Sunday. Long weekend. Lots of stuff. Crazy packed December this December. So, God bless you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Again, if you guys want to support the ministry and the work we do on Patreon, please go to patreon.com/Apologia Center. If you want to give one-time donations, it's all in the description box. Feel free to support the ministry. So with all that said, take care. God bless you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.